20 million pounds worth of deals, raised, 6, now going on 7 million in private investor finance. Another episode of Transformational Tuesday. This is one of our long-standing tribe members, Mr. Shane Duff. Thank you for coming on, and I'm super excited for you to inspire the people with your story.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, awesome. So just give us a quick highlights of your, the stats and the results that you over the last few years.
Well, the last few years since I've gone full-time into this, I've been involved in multiple projects that's probably total north of 20 million pounds. Raising finance, we're nearly at 6 million pounds, but that's soon to be nearly 7 million pounds. Just got to get that one over the line. It's not done yet. What else? And I've managed to gain myself quite a lot of experience in the property world with new builds, commercial conversions. I seem to be quite attracted to difficult projects. No such thing as a low-hanging fruit with us.
Just give us a quick highlight of who was Shane Duff growing up, and how did you get to the point of why property?
Okay, a little bit about me. Grew up in a sports-mad family. Military family, hard-working family, and as it turns out, there's myself, my brother and my sister, all growing up, loved sport, and my brother and myself turned into professional sports people. But my professional sports football career only lasted 11 years, so by the time I was 28, I was playing my last game, and then 29, I was out. I was like, oh my God, what do I do next? So I ended up taking myself back to university, which is probably the most financial suicide, because anything that I did have disappeared over the next 3 years, and I've ultimately found my way through to property just purely out of interest, because I was always a big fan of Homes Under the Hammer.
Okay, so you're telling me you got into property because of a TV program called Homes Under the Hammer?
Pretty much. That's what I used to love watching it as a kid, when I was younger. Well, I say as a kid, I was like 20, 25 watching it.
Surely you must have been like, okay, so people who do property make money.
Oh yeah, that was the bit you saw. You saw the headline numbers. You thought, oh, I could do that. I'm sure I could do that. Obviously, I didn't have any skills to do any of the work. I still don't.
Well, yeah, that could be true as well. But let's just understand this. So did you use then your own money to buy places? Because I know when before we came across each other, you were buying places.
Yeah. The people who were doing the skills, who had the skills, I had to employ them just because I didn't have any skills. But I was very cautious about. You always hear loads of horror stories about people being scammed or rogue builders and things like that. So I just wanted to make sure I was there in the morning. I was there cleaning up. I just wanted to be there listening to the carpenter, talk to the plumber, just to make sure that they weren't getting into cahoots with each other and added on a couple of £1,000 on the bill. I just wanted to make sure that no one was taking the mickey out of me. I was like, no one's going to take the mickey out of me.
Literally, that's what I was just going to ask. Is it true that you were literally there sweeping up and doing all of those, tidying jobs?
Oh, mate, it was. I used to think I was the man with the rubble sacks. I was constantly buying them. I was there with a shovel, rubble sacks and gloves and a skip. I'd be there. If I saw them and I was paying them, I don't know, whether it be daily rate or whatever, and if I saw them sweeping up, I'd be like, don't you be doing that. You do that, I'll clean up. I didn't want to be paying them to do something I could do. I knew things needed to change in order to grow faster, bigger and better.
Okay, that's good. But I would, before we move on to what you started to do, because I think this is a big challenge for people, and obviously you've gone through a transformation, and we'll get to that. But why were you not bringing the people in the first place, other than what you've already said of well, I don't want them adding on the bill and all of that stuff? Why weren't you just getting the teams in and doing it?
Well, I think you're a little bit more cautious. Your appetite for risk is just less, and if there's anything that you can do, you literally can do yourself, or use people that you know and you trust. Whenever there's financing involved, I always find that it's heavily trust based. You just wanted to keep your circle really tight and really small. I only wanted to use that tradesperson, and I had loads of people who were willing to help me. I just didn't want to be seen to be free with cash, because especially if people were starting to invest in me, I just didn't want that to be the case.
Good. And I'm glad you're saying this, because I think people need to realize, especially when we're going to hear what you did next, is to make more money. It's have that attitude, and I'm going to make more money. Yeah, but really you make less money and put more time in as well. Obviously, we came across each other in 2018?
Yeah, back end of 2018, yeah.
But just explain like what happened then, and what was the transformation, and what changes did you make in your business and your strategies that you were employing?
I suppose I'd always trusted myself. I'd always trusted how I acted, and genuinely I behaved the way I did because I believed it was the right way to behave. But I suppose coming into this process and then working with yourselves, it was a case of maybe just opening my mind a little bit wider and actually thinking, well, what about if you were to think slightly differently? What about this and what about that? And not being resistant to it. And I suppose at a stage, at a bit of a crossroads in the life, you're almost thinking, well, I'm willing to give this a go. I'm not I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just thinking differently. And that was probably the biggest thing for me. And actually thinking, well, look forward a few years from now, get out of your immediate future into slightly longer term future, and then work backwards. And goal setting is still something I do to this day.
Nice, love it. So, like, explain some of the things that, because like people, they watch these transformational Tuesday series, like with wanting to like be like, okay, I can, go on this path as well. So, you went from doing one project at a time, then you started doing two projects, using close knit team, but now you've expanded and you started doing monster product. You talk about like over 20 million pounds worth of projects since 2018, right? That's like just
Well, yeah. Well, I suppose the biggest thing I look back now and I still don't know how we made it, how we got it done. Early 2019, and all of a sudden we're making bids on the place, and we ended up buying a place for it was a half-built site for 6 houses that had so many issues on it, which we didn't know until we got into it, and we ended up selling them for just under £4.5 million. But you look at that and you think, how did we do that? And I still to this day think I don't know, because we viewed it on January the 15th and we completed the purchase on March the 8th of 2019. And the purchase price ended up being 1.9 million. And the goalpost moved on a daily basis. We didn't think we needed to get much money. Then all of a sudden we needed to raise £600,000 from like private investment, and then raise the rest of it through banking finance. And because I didn't realize the amount of issues that there are with a site that's been left by previous builders, has been left there for a few years, there's so many issues. But it was a complete baptism, and you look back and we laugh about it, but it worked. It was great. And right from the front end we focused on the risk, and never at any stage were we in a situation where we were like, oh my god. Where in bigger developments that can happen a lot. And my business partner Andrew, when I was starting to piece this together, I needed someone who knew what they were doing, and Andrew was that person. He's 20 years older than I am. This was the first deal we did together, and we're still business partners today. He did I think he said about 92 flips. That's how he started in property years ago. He said he shouldn't be flipping them, he should have been holding them. He said if he'd hold them now, he'd be a multi-millionaire. But
and that's the thing, like some people, they miss this opportunity of like just doing a deal. Actually, the partnerships and the teams that you form, I know for me definitely some of the best JVs have come not from because of the deal, but because of what we went through to then go on to do bigger and better deals and better things, and expand our networks that way. What a great like story as well to add value, because that's what this whole community is about, and you definitely did that. So saving grace, 20 million pounds worth of deals, raised 6, now going on 7 million in private investor finance, so you're adding value to all of these people as well. What is next for you? What's the next phase of the transformation? Where are you heading now?
I want to be a bank. We want to keep building new build developments. We want to keep doing conversions. We want to trade property to build profit, and then use that money to leave it into our longer term investments moving forward.
So look, if there's some people out there, entrepreneur mindset, want to come and do it for themselves, want to kind of create their own story in similar footsteps for you, what would your advice be to those people?
Consistent. Choose your approach carefully. Pick the right people to work with, and be consistent over time. Because it'd be like anything. And behave. Who do you want to be? Behave like that.
Game on, we love it. You got the sports analogy in there to explain property development. Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you for coming on for the Transformational Tuesday episode. And thank you for sharing your transformation. It's going to inspire lots of people. We know that for sure. We just need to finish off with this, Shane, because we have a saying in our community, yeah, that you got to do the right thing for the right reason. Now, why is that?
It's the only way to discover your true potential.
There you go. Thank you for watching. Follow and subscribe for more. Hear more amazing things like what this guy has done and many more.